He's no, he's such a dangerous. I don't know how he is a candidate. He is so dangerous, and what he brings to my country, what he's awakened in my country, is bigotry and.
The clash intensified when Karoline Leavitt was forced into defense mode after Cher openly criticized Donald Trump and indirectly questioned the image surrounding Melania Trump. Cher made direct accusations about leadership honesty and the use of fear as a political tool. Cher argued that Trump repeatedly delivers conflicting statements with confidence, creating confusion instead of clarity among the public. Cher also claimed that Trump's influence has fueled division, encouraged hostility, and deepened political tension across the country while damaging trust in leadership and public discourse.
I understand how the people were so desperate to pick this man, this unbelievable narcissist who could change the face of our world if we let him. And the only thing that will save us is you.
And this is where the pressure on Liv escalates, because defending one statement is manageable. But defending a consistent pattern of controversy becomes a non-stop cycle that demands constant explanations, public responses, and damage control, while critics continue raising questions about credibility, accountability, leadership, and political influence across media platforms and public discussions.
And he lies. He's amazing. He tells something, and then you go back and you see what he said, and it seems like the truth both times. He's so terrific at lying. I've never seen anybody so good. Especially millennials, they're not really drawn to Hillary. They are
forcing her to reframe criticism as strength, dismiss concerns as media exaggeration, and present every contradiction as a calculated strategy designed to maintain support and control public perception. Yet the more detailed the criticism becomes, the harder it is to redirect the narrative, especially when Cher continues pushing further, challenging credibility, leadership decisions, public trust, and the growing divide surrounding political messaging and accountability.
You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's.
Trump's communication style has faced growing criticism, with opponents questioning his preparedness and suggesting that his leadership is driven more by ego and public performance than discipline and responsibility. Critics also argue that his repeated controversial remarks create confusion, increase political tension, weaken public confidence, and shift attention away from important national issues, policy discussions, and leadership accountability.
And I'm sure you agree after our president came here.
Did you see any of the protests? You were here, weren't you?
Absolutely. I could hear it out my window. Of course. And I was very proud of you. The one thing I was most upset was about him making the Queen wait.
Highlighting concerns about policies and decisions that sparked public outrage, making the argument less about personality and more about long-term impact on public trust and political accountability. That shift is critical because it moves the discussion from opinion into accountability, something that cannot be easily brushed aside or ignored by audiences paying close attention. Yet Leavitt maintains the same approach, countering with confidence, redirecting focus, and reinforcing loyalty, creating a clear contrast between persistent criticism and unwavering defense. Over time, this dynamic reveals a larger pattern where one side continues to raise questions grounded in repeated observations, while the other continues responding with dismissal rather than direct engagement, leaving the audience to decide which argument carries greater weight and credibility. Because when criticism remains consistent and responses remain repetitive, the gap between explanation and reaction becomes impossible to ignore, turning this from a simple exchange into a broader reflection on credibility, leadership, and whether strong messaging can truly outweigh unresolved concerns and growing public skepticism. And when everything settles, the real weight of this clash is not in who spoke louder, but in what actually remains in public memory over time. Karoline Leavitt continues defending with confidence and repetition, while Cher keeps returning with the same steady criticism, creating a contrast people cannot ignore, where one side constantly explains while the other consistently questions leadership decisions, public messaging, and accountability. The more this cycle repeats, the clearer it becomes that this is no longer about a single moment or statement. It is about a broader narrative that keeps rebuilding itself, especially when it revolves around Donald Trump and even extends to the image and perception surrounding Melania Trump. Public perception does not form from one headline. It forms from repetition patterns and how often the same defenses are required while the same concerns continue returning. That is where the real tension exists, in the space between what is being defended and what repeatedly keeps needing defense. Strong leadership usually reduces questions over time instead of multiplying them. When the same issues continue resurfacing despite constant explanations, people begin paying attention to the pattern instead of the response. That is exactly why moments like this do not fade, because they continue shaping opinions, influencing debates, and reinforcing public doubts long after headlines and interviews disappear from daily conversation.